Wisconsin, Luke Fickell has new hope for this new season, and he's riding the shoulders of his new quarterback, Billy Edwards. A new Big Ten season is here. Here come the Wisconsin Badgers to start their 2025 football season. Football on the Big Ten Network is presented by Stanley Steamer, the second meeting between Miami University out of the MAC and the Wisconsin Badgers. Welcome inside Camp Randall and one of the all-time best college football environments. We're upstairs here in the booth alongside the Iowa captain, Anthony Herron. I'm Lisa Byington, and Melanie Ricks will be with us on the sideline. We'll join her in just a bit. Well, Wisconsin fans can't wait to move on here from 2025. A 5-7 season last year, no bowl game. They're ready to push this forward.
We know the standard that's been set by this program historically, and year 3 for Luke Fickell has all kinds of implications. This fan base is ready.
All right, so the head coach, all kinds of optimism. We join him and Melanie Ricks down on the field.
Coach, you said yourself, your team has a lot to prove, and it starts game 1. What's at the top of your priority list?
There's an execution that we need to be able to have, but when I say we had something to prove, we have to prove it to ourselves. That's the most important thing. There's a lot of other things that can go on, but most importantly is those guys in that locker room. We got to prove that we can play the way in which we train and the things in which we say we are.
You said you want to come out in mid-season form. What does that look like to you?
That's playing clean. That's not these pre-snap penalties. That's making sure we've got 11 on the field so that we can play at the tempo that which we want to play at.
Thanks and good luck, Coach.
Appreciate it.
All right, the new quarterback, thank you, Mel, is Billy Edwards. He's got a lot to prove. You know, the transfer from Maryland, he's coming off his best season last year, but there's a lot of expectations and the biggest stage by far that he's ever played in his career.
And to be able to have this opportunity, I mean, Billy Edwards is really the modern embodiment of opportunity in college football. And there was a lot of conjecture about who would transfer in, who may take over as the starter for this season's version of the Wisconsin Badgers. Billy Edwards is the guy they brought in. He answers the bell, third time in a row that they've had a veteran transfer in as the starter, but a multi-dimensional skill set that Billy Edwards brings to the table. Not only the acumen to pass the ball, the willingness to attack deep, but also an improvisational playmaker, a multi-dimensional skill set. He can hurt you on the hoof as well. And now he will be married with a guy as an offensive coordinator who I do believe there's been more ballyhoo about this Jeff Grimes hire than any other OC in the entire country. It's a pre-existing head coach who's in place, and now as he adds Jeff Grimes into this thing, there will be wrinkles to the Wisconsin offense. This won't be your grandfather's Badgers run game, and I look forward to displaying that for everyone throughout the night.
The opponent here tonight, the Miami Redhawks. Chuck Martin is the head coach, the longest tenured active coach in the MAC, 30 years in counting in college coaching, but even he doesn't know what to expect from his team. The last couple of seasons, they've reached the MAC championship. The last 2 seasons, 20 wins over that span. But he's got 40 new guys. He doesn't have a starter back on the offensive side, just 4 starters back on the defensive side. And week 1 is going to answer a lot of questions for him. Wisconsin wins the toss. They choose to defer. And the weather tonight in Madison, picture perfect for week number 1. Temperature about 67, very little wind, and all kinds of atmosphere, as we've talked about. One of the best college football venues opened up under the lights at Camp Randall here tonight. To receive for Miami, and a touchback to get this thing going. Nathaniel Vakos with the kickoff here for the Badgers. It introduces us to Miami's offense for the first time. I mentioned no returning starters from 2024. And a lot of questions. What they have, though, is a lot of expectations. The Badgers have a new quarterback. The Redhawks have a new quarterback, too. DeQuan Finn, a former MAC Player of the Year. You look at his career, he's in his 7th season, has played primarily 5 years at Toledo, was fantastic there. tried 3 games in a year at Baylor last year and now is back in the MAC conference. In motion, it's Finn keeping it and calling his own number. That is where Wisconsin's got to be mindful, Anthony. You know, he can move with his feet, and certainly the run defense was not a strength last year for the Badgers defense.
And for Mike Tressel, returning as the DC again for the Badgers, I mentioned wrinkles on their offense. There will be some wrinkles on this defense as well. One of those is just the beefy matter that's there in their defensive front.
2nd and 5. First series for Miami. It's off the hands. It's poked loose. The Badgers defense, Austin Brown poking that one free. Intended receiver Cam Perry for Miami. It's 3rd and 5.
We know that DeQuan Finn won't be fazed by this environment. It's electric at Camp Randall Stadium right now, but he's been a thorn in the sides of many Big Ten defenses in years past, and his legs on 3rd and medium are a big thing for the Badgers to be aware of, especially on the edge.
And his first career start in Miami already tested on this first series. Trips to his right. He hands off to Josh Ringer. And just short of picking up the first down. Christian Allegro making the play. Josh Ringer, no touchdowns in his career, and Miami forced a punt on 4th and 1.
It was fun talking to Chuck Martin, the Red Hawks head coach, about some of the decisions on 4th downs. He receives the metrics. He considers them, but he usually goes with his gut feeling after a guy who's coached football for a long time.
Tyrell Henry back to receive for Wisconsin. And he'll let this one roll. It takes a Miami roll right about at the 15-yard line, which is where this Badgers offense will begin with. Pierre Staten, your punter, a good punt here for Miami. You look at Billy Edwards. Last season with Maryland was his best season. Yards per game, that was 3rd best in the Big Ten. And all kinds of emotion. Had a chance to talk to him yesterday. He's anxious, he's excited. You can imagine getting his first start at Camp Randall.
He's been through every phase that a college quarterback could hope for. He's redshirted. He's been a backup multiple years. He's been a full-time starter at one program. Now, all the scrutiny in the world, it seems, from a Badgers perspective, on Billy Edwards.
Hands off to Dylan Jones, who gets the start at running back for Wisconsin. Adam Trick making the play for Miami. 2nd and 10, no gain on that first play here for the Badgers. They're really excited about what Jones could possibly give them this year. Of all the position groups, the running back position was the one position they didn't dive into the transfer portal to get an extra guy. And Dylan Jones is one of those reasons why. There will be a rotation of about 3 guys at that position at the very least. Pass complete to Vinny Anthony, who's the leading receiver coming back into this year, and the Badgers pick up a first down and a gain of 11 on the play.
Impressive growth throughout the 2024 season for Vinny Anthony. Almost started as kind of a possession guy early in the year, intermediate routes. Then he started running the 9 routes, the deep ball, the run after catch really emerged later in the season.
Gotta feel good, right, for Billy Edwards to complete his first pass as a Badger. Hand off to Dylan Jones. And take us through this Badgers offense, Anthony.
Several returning starters up front on the outside. We've referenced Vinny Anthony already, but they've added more playmakers into the mix as well via the transfer portal. But Jake Renfro on the offensive line came over with Luke Fickell from Cincinnati, one of the leaders up front for the Badgers.
Pass deflected by Adam Trick, who's been active here on this series. And Chuck Martin, defensive coordinator Bill Breakin, really excited about the future here of Adam Trick, a junior.
He's a really gifted athlete, 6'4", about 250 pounds. If there's any question, probably the biggest curiosity up front for the Wisconsin Badgers, Davis Heinsohn, who you saw there at left tackle, not quite able to hold the edge as Trick was able to turn the corner.
They brought in Heinsohn after the spring season when Kevin Haywood injured himself. There was a need there at left tackle, all bottled up right in the middle of the field. And Miami's defense reading that perfectly. Again, Trick leading the way. It's a pickup of 3, brings up 4th down.
Mentioned the activity in that front 7 for Miami to be able to not only hit blocks but get off blocks and be in a position to secure tackles. Getting it on the first series is one thing. Can they hold up throughout this contest against a big Wisconsin offensive line? Adam
Trick, a big part of 3 different plays on that first series. Played all 14 games last year for Miami. 37 tackles for Trick. We will take our first time out. 1 series each for both of these teams. No score here in Madison. Football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by Stanley Steamer. Game day gets messy. Stanley Steamer brings the clean. And brought to you by DQ. Happy tastes good. Now, Luke Fickell wants the taste of a win coming into tonight. You never know in week 1 what you're going to get. Always a question mark, but he likes the way this team has been trending here in the preseason. No score between Miami and Wisconsin after a series each. And Finn will keep, gets tripped up by Allegro, Christian Allegro. A lot of expectations here for him. And he gets to Finn fast.
One of the things that Mike Tressel said about Christian Allegro, they want to field him throughout the game more consistently. An extremely athletic inside linebacker, capable of making impactful plays. They want more out of him this season.
Yeah, I asked him, what do you mean by that? He said he needs to be felt by his opponents and by his teammates. His teammates as a leader, his opponents like he did right there to Finn. And chasing him down. 2nd and 8. Finn back to throw this time. And goes to the far side. And Kenny Tracy makes the catch. The running backs this season for Miami, they will love to use the running backs out of the backfield on offense. It's also one of their more veteran groups, a couple of seniors, 3 freshmen.
Kenny Tracy about 12 months removed from knee surgery, missed the season last year. They're really excited about adding him back to this Red Hawks offense.
Now it's 3rd and 3. Deion Colsey in motion. And pressure coming. The pocket collapsing. Finn trying to spin out of trouble, and he's pulled down midfield. Short of the first down marker. And Sebastian Cheeks making it tough for Dequan Finn here tonight.
It's really difficult to be able to maintain your rush lanes when you have a quarterback who's as nimble and mobile as Dequan Finn. Excellent retrace by Cheeks, working back downhill after initially being an edge rusher.
And so on 4th and 3, Miami again forced a punt. The first punt went 51 yards for Stainton. And Miami posting this one up inside the 5-yard line. So special teams getting it done for the Red Hawks here early. Silas Walters, a heads-up play for Miami. It'll be a long field for the Badgers when they come out for the 2nd time. All right, the ball has been spotted at the 6-yard line. A long field here for the Badgers, and a heads-up play, as we talked about, by Silas Walters.
Good presence of mind to bat the ball back slightly before it goes into the end zone. And you'll see the back judge, he immediately drops the beanbag just outside the end zone. That's where the ball was contacted. Then the two side judges come in for where the ball's currently spotted. Great mechanics by the officiating crew.
And the college football rule with that is different than the NFL rule. And Edwards completes his second pass as a Badger to Jaden Ballard, the Ohio State transfer. He'll provide some speed. He got some limited chances at Ohio State for some obvious reasons. A pickup of 11, so a couple of 11-yard passes here for Billy Edwards in this new offense. For offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes, going to be more multiple that these Badger fans will get to watch here this year.
Under center, didn't see as much of that the last couple of years.
On the air raid attack, it did not work, and a tough run by Dylan Jones, getting some extra yards after contact, which is something that Luke Fickell was curious if his backs would be able to do. Obviously, you don't go full live in the preseason, so getting a run like this after contact is pretty impressive by Jones.
It's Billy Edwards just kind of taking your profit. You know, not trying to do anything too much, especially here early in the game, sort of getting things settled in for the offense.
One incompletion here for Billy Edwards. He's thrown to 3 different receivers. And Dylan Jones again getting the lead work here in the backfield. Corbin Hondrew making the tackle. Billy Edwards, we mentioned he was a starter for Maryland last year. Returning Big Ten players, though, with the most passing yards. That's not a bad guy to be trailing here in the conference.
Now, of course, the volume to the pass attempts in the Maryland offense and that Mike Locksley offense, beyond what Drew Allar was doing at Penn State, beyond what we expect Billy Edwards to have access to this season.
Jones stays in. And a quick handoff there to Jackson Aker. Well, the fullback is back, and Aker just like that, you know, picking up the first down. The third Wisconsin first down. Aker has fully embraced the fullback position.
Some duo action on the inside with Jake Renfro initially on the double team, then peeling up to the second level. And it's not a big gain, but short yardage scenarios, being able to count on your offensive line to move the point of attack will pay dividends for the Badgers.
The Badgers, you know, yesterday in our coaches meetings, they were saying that this fan base is kind of waiting for an on-the-ground, like 80-yard drive to go nuts here at Camp Randall.
All right.
And the quarterback pressure that time coming from Kuwatch.
So, LB, what's interesting about that? That's just a sprint pass, a fairly basic play call in an offense, but one of the things that Jeff Grimes will eventually do in building off of that, because the offensive line comes off the ball and they're just all running in unison in one direction. For the second and third level of the opposing defense, it can look similar to the stretch zone scheme. It's going to be such a big part of this Badgers offense.
12 personnel for the Badgers, running back and 2 tight ends across the middle. It's the biggest passing gain for the Badgers, and Chris Brooks Jr. picks up the Badger first down. A gain of 16 on the play.
And to the point just made there, you're getting the eyes of the opposing defense to expect what happened on the previous play. Offensive line runs off the ball to the right, multiple plays in a row. In the last play, it was sprint action towards the right. Here, Billy Edwards plants that foot and looks back to the left for the first down completion.
Chris Brooks Jr., a pleasant surprise here in the preseason. That's only his second career catch. And again, you see some motion. Kekahuna receives the handoff. Let's check in with Dave Remsen for a studio update.
What up, Rever?
Hello, gang. Lisa, much like in your game, defense has ruled the day so far in the Twin Cities. Drake Lindsey to Jamison Gears. The lone touchdown, Minnesota on top of Buffalo, 7-3.
Yeah, 4 Big Ten teams opening up here on this Thursday night. Always love this opening weekend for football with week 1, week 0, of course, last weekend. And football on every day of the week. Jones picking up the first down. A big play. Anthony, they've been riding Dylan Jones this entire night.
I didn't know Dylan Jones had the jump cut in his bag of tricks. but he certainly showed it on this one. Stretch zone showed to one side, but you've got to be able to plant your foot and get north and south when you're running back in this scheme.
He's physical. You're going to hear that word a lot on both the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball. 8 plays on the drive, 4 first downs for Wisconsin. Jones stays in. Henry in motion. And a play right up the middle. Hontrue making the play here for Miami. Saturday, Big Ten Tailgate is live from Maryland with all the festivities surrounding the Terps home opener. Then countdown to kickoff brings you the latest from around the conference right before the action begins. It all starts Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Darian Dupree is in his first action here tonight. He goes in motion. That's one thing you'll see. There's a lot of pre-snap motion against this Miami defense. And off the fingertips, Kakahuna couldn't pull it down. And a flag near side, right at the 30-yard line.
Ineligible player downfield, number 85 offense, 5-yard penalty, it's second down.
That's Grant Steck, the freshman tight end. He's played 1 game in his Badger career.
Tackle over is one of the formations that Jeff Grimes likes a lot. He's used it at previous stops multiple times. But then depending on the motion, where the actual edge of the offense is with the wide receiver and slot receiver, and that on that snap it ended up covering up the tight end Grant Steck.
It's Dupree who gets his first touch. Last year was a true freshman. Finished second on the team in terms of carries and yards. And Roosevelt Andrews stopping the play.
Chuck Martin told us he knew that this Wisconsin offense would throw a lot at them. So much, you mentioned the term eye candy. There's motion pre-snap. There's eye candy post-snap with bodies all over the place. It won't only be small bodies in motion, but the big fellas moving around.
3rd and 4. There is the motion. Tyrell Henry picking up the first down for the Badgers.
It gets difficult as a linebacker to trust your read because you're reading the blocking assignment and where your offensive lineman, where the point of attack takes you. And then if you're not reacting at a moment's notice, that's where you can get outflanked. It allows Tyrell Henry to turn the corner.
It's the second jet sweep that we've seen, and this drive now lasting a little over 6 minutes here as Wisconsin trying to hunt down his first score of the night. Cade Yakimelli. First time that we've seen a rotation of backs here on this drive. Up until this drive, Jones had played every single play for the Badgers. Now we've seen Dupree and Yakimelli.
They're really excited about the depth that they have in the backfield here between Dupree, Jones, Yakimelli, even Atuka when he ends up getting some action. They've got 4 different backs that they think can get the job done.
On 2nd and 5. Edwards in and out of his receiver's hands. Lance Mason, the Missouri State transfer, with his first opportunity to pull one in here as a Badger. Eli Blakey, a talented defender, breaking it up.
Fans here at Camp Randall thought that perhaps Blakey was there a bit earlier. I understand their angst about that one.
Tucker Ashcraft, normally would be a starter at the tight end position for Wisconsin, is out with an injury. It won't be long term. They don't think it's a season ender, but we could see Lance Mason get a few more snaps to fill in that void. Edwards going end zone, and it's contact made. No flag is thrown, and you can hear it here at Camp Randall. Griffin Jr., the intended receiver.
On the previous one, LB, with Blakey, all right, Spank, bang, little touch and go. Here, the ball's in flight. Receiver in phase with the DB, Caleb Martin, throughout the entire route up the sideline. I mean, maybe you rule that uncatchable, but I think there was a chance there for Griffin.
A 42-yard attempt for Veikos. Kick is up, and kick is good. First points of the season, a field goal for Wisconsin as they go up 3-0 against Miami. About 99 seconds to play in the first quarter.
Obviously getting here and you get, you know, the backstories of the Ron Danes, the Jonathan Taylors, the Watt brothers, people that went through this program and went about it in, you know, the right manner, which is the right manner to the outside world is probably not the most normal thing of being the most tough, the most nasty, the most disciplined football player. That's kind of been, you know, what's preached the most. And I think the biggest thing with that, obviously with the landscape, there's a lot of new players, but getting people to buy in with how the Wisconsin football way is.
Well, Billy Edwards, a good start, 4 of 8 for 44 yards in the air, and leading a field goal drive that took about 7 minutes and some change. Anthony, in our discussion with him yesterday, he said when he came, part of his decision in coming to Madison was his connection with Coach Grimes. He said the two of us just spent 4 to 6 hours on my visit, just watching film, talking about my vision. It was a new comfort zone. He said it lasted so long, I was late to dinner on my visit. And remember that Coach Grimes was also hired right around the same time that Edwards was trying to make his decision, so he felt like they were even staying at the same hotel in Madison together.
Jeff Grimes had only been on the job a couple of days by the time he was meeting with Billy Edwards, outlining his vision for what this Badgers offense could become.
So Finn goes back to work for this Miami offense, trailing 3-0. And Brunson's in the backfield. Gets the handoff, maybe a gain of 1 on that play for the Red Hawks. Mason Riker in his 6th year. What a story he is. A transfer out of Louisville. You know, he was the first Luke Fickell portal commitment and dealing with a lot of injuries, in particular to his knee, but healthy again and looking to contribute in his final year of college football. On second down, Finn back to throw. And a first down catch by Cole Weaver. His first career catch at Miami. Deani Hill making the play.
And LB, for Luke Fickell, it's a really fascinating offseason when you think about it because he hires Jeff Grimes as the new offensive coordinator, keeps Mike Tressel as the pre-existing defensive coordinator. But in going through that process, they've made adjustments on the defensive side as well. Attack is the main word that Wisconsin has been echoing for how they want to adjust.
Yeah, attack and being physical. That defensive front is long. They are a lot bigger. And they chase Miami and Daquan Finn out of bounds. A good block there coming from Brian Shane, the tight end there for Miami. It's a pickup of 8. Brings up second down.
And complementary football is one of those phrases that get used so frequently in this sport. But to be able to have offense, defense, special teams, your cultures suit each other, that's a part of the mission that Luke Fickell's been on.
That's the end of the first
We
quarter.
played 1 quarter under the lights in Camp Randall. And the debut between Miami and Wisconsin, the second meeting between these two schools. We got the second quarter to come. Start of the second quarter between Wisconsin and Miami. Anthony Herron, Lisa Beinson, Melanie Ricks is with us. Down on the sideline, Wisconsin picked up a field goal on a 15-play, 69-yard drive here in the first quarter. It's this defense so far that is shutting out Miami. And Daquan Finn, a very talented quarterback in his 7th season of his career. 2nd and 2. It's Finn to keep. Spins out of it. And picks up the first down.
If you watch the way he holds that mesh point for just a moment with the ball in the belly of the running back, he's eyeballing the edge of that Wisconsin defense, just waiting to see. Will Daryl Peterson get a bit too nosy and allow him to turn the corner?
It's a gift for a quarterback like that to kind of fall into your lap here. A former conference player of the year with all kinds of experience, all kinds of confidence, and certainly someone that Chuck Martin and this coaching staff knows really well. They had to coach against him for several years. Here's Finn on first down, Kenny Tracy, and he gets swallowed up. Daquan Finn. He's bounced between Toledo, Baylor, and now Miami. Spent 5 years at Toledo. Only played 3 games last year at Baylor to preserve his red shirt. Did not play the rest of the season. And now trying his luck back in the Mid-American Conference. The Mish point hands to Brunson. About a pickup of 1. It brings up 3rd down. And Riker, again, right in the middle of everything for the Badgers.
And LB, when you've got a quarterback who can move like Daquan Finn, when he's holding the ball in the belly of the back like that, it's doing 2 different things to the edge and the second level of the defense, because they delay waiting. They're trying to be patient to see where the football declares. So even if he doesn't keep it, he's setting up his running back for an interior run run.
3rd and 6. Miami has been 0 for so far on 3rd down here tonight. That bigger, faster, lengthier defensive line for the Badgers. We'll see if they can provide some pressure. They are. Finn escapes it, though. A flag in the backfield. Finn picks up, is just short, actually, of the 1st down as he ran out of bounds. We'll see what the flag is, though, in the backfield.
Looks like it's going to be a holding call on the Red Hawks. Wisconsin ran a nice twist stunt on the inside.
Holding. Offense number 74. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. It's 3rd down.
Puts pressure on you as a guard because Wisconsin mugged their linebacker up into the A-gap. You got that presence that you have to honor. You don't want the immediate penetration. So Greg Smith, as he's holding, then the defender's trying to disengage. It just tugs a bit too long, not allowing Corey Walker to get away.
Greg Smith Jr., the left guard, a Miami team that lost all 5 starters on the O-line. It's 3rd and 17. Finn forced the throw, and well short of anyone, and well short of the 1st down. We've seen the pressure. We've talked about the physicality, the Badgers defense, want to exemplify that.
Well, last season, Mike Tressel's defense just didn't play on the opposing side of the line of scrimmage very much. They were last in the Big Ten in tackles for loss. He wants more of that this season, and it can be a difficult combination. When you get bigger, do you penetrate the gaps well enough?
Pierce Stainton is averaging 45.5 in his couple of punts here tonight. And a fair catch call right at the 20. Under the lights at Camp Randall in the state's capital. Come along with us here on this Thursday night. Well, Anthony Herron wasn't enough, so I said, let's just invite a Badger legend here, Montee Ball, in the booth with us. First of all, a newly elected into the College Football Hall of Fame. The induction will take place in December. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What was your reaction to that?
Honestly, it's a funny story. I was in line at a famous coffee shop, and I was gonna order.
I see what you did there. Well done.
Gonna order some coffee, but then I got a text from one of the folks here, and they shared the news with me, and it was most definitely a blessing. Literally, I got out of line and I started crying. I did.
I can imagine that. You know what? It's got to be special for you to come here as a fan and tell me what it's like to play at night at Camp Randall.
Honestly, that was the decision that I took my official visit during Ohio State versus Wisconsin, of course, the greatest university, and it was a night game, and I was sold right then and there. Truly, once I came here and saw the fans, saw the atmosphere, night game, I was sold. So it was a dream come true to be able to play here for 4 years.
A 1st and 10 situation here for the Badgers. It's Edwards back to throw, and just off the hands of his intended receiver, Vinny Anthony. Well, you know what, Monte? Let's go back and look at some of your highlights. Two-time All-American. It's like your jersey's always clean running into the end zone.
I tell you what, yeah, I put the work in, I put the time in. I wanted to always set the right examples, but listen, that award, getting into the College Football Hall of Fame, we're all sharing it. We're all sharing it. All the guys who blocked for me, the fullbacks, receivers, quarterbacks, etc.
It's one of the things that's a bit underappreciated is the relationship between the running back and the O-line, how they work in unison.
Absolutely. I mean, we can't do much without them.
Breaking free of the tackles. Kekahuna, what a move. What do you know about those years?
I know a lot. I know a lot, actually. And listen, it was just such a blessing to be there, right, with down there in Pasadena. And we always talk about that year right there, 2012, against Nebraska. We lost against them in regular season and, of course, had to put it on them in the Big Ten championship game, and we most definitely did.
Kekahuna picking up the first down for Wisconsin. Edwards again, all kinds of time with pressure coming on his backside, but he's going deep. And his intended receiver again, Vinny Anthony. The quarterback pressure coming from the backside by Adam Trick.
Well, there's been some success on the ground for the Badgers in this game, and that's one of the things that Jeff Grimes, their new offensive coordinator, hopes this sets up. The shot play opportunities. I faced a bunch of Wisconsin offenses in the past where you barrel down trying to stop Ron Dayne, Monte Ball type running backs. Your eyes get into the backfield and you get one-on-one matchups.
Spinning out of trouble, Dupree. Now, Monte, have you had a chance to talk to this year's team at all?
I have not, but I do plan to against the Iowa game, October 11th. I will be here. It's going to be an awesome game for sure, and I will have the opportunity to speak to the guys, and I'm looking forward to it, right? Because, again, I remember when the guys, from former players talked to us and just provided us with that information, right?
We look at your career stats, Monte. I mean, obviously impressive, and a story of perseverance is what I think about with your career as we look at 3rd and 7 for these Badgers across the 50, across the 45, pushed out. A nice run by Yakameli. You can appreciate runs like that, but I mean, there was a time where you were 3rd string.
Yes. I did not get my shot until Iowa 2010 at Kinnick Stadium. John Clay unfortunately got injured, James White as well, and I remember the running backs coach, John Settle at the time, looked at me and said, "It's time to put up or shut up." Literally, and I got in, caught a slant pass for a first down, and 4 plays later scored the game-winning touchdown.
And you show up at Wisconsin playing this position, playing running back, hoping to maximize opportunities just like that.
Edwards again back to throw, headed towards the end zone, just out of the reach. Man, Vinny Anthony and Edwards are going to connect at some point tonight.
Camp Randall fans, it's another time, a deep ball. Fan base feeling like this should have drawn a flag. Vinny Anthony trying to run under it. Now, I agreed with them on the previous series in the first quarter. A couple that should have been flagged. This one feels more like incidental contact on a ball that's overthrown. What do you think, Monte?
No, I think it's the right call. No, that's not a flag. Even though I'm a diehard Badger, that's not a flag. These guys got to earn it.
I respect that.
Tony Coleman Jr., the defensive back. They're making that play here for Miami and push back. Almost right back to the line of scrimmage. Is Henry. Monte, are you good at trivia?
Oh yes, that's actually my favorite.
You want to take a stab at this?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Monte Ball is a 2025 College Football Hall of Fame inductee. Can you name the other 5 Badgers inducted since 2010?
Since 2010.
Since 2010, obviously Ron Dayne, right? Oh my gosh, I should know this. This is embarrassing. Ron Dayne for sure. I'm gonna go Joe Thomas.
Ooh,
as well.
I like that.
I gotta. Those two have got to be right.
I wonder.
Can I give you a hint?
Please.
You want a hint?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
It doesn't have to be a player.
Oh, that's right. Coach Alvey.
Okay.
Probably. Yeah. Absolutely. Coach Alvarez for sure.
That's all the help I'm gonna give you.
I got 3. I got 3.
Right.
What do you got?
You did.
So
you got over 50%.
All right. I was going to throw Chris McIntosh out there myself, but yeah, Troy Vincent, that's a good one.
Troy.
Edwards got shook up just a little bit, and this is not what Wisconsin wants to see. The last couple of seasons, they have lost their starting quarterback to injury.
And to have it be non-contact like that is always scary. It's the left leg that does already have a knee brace on it. He was able to put weight on it as he stepped off the field, but everyone in Camp Randall bated breath.
Yeah, they're holding their breath. Put on that knee brace in the preseason. Now, he said it was for precautionary reasons. But now it's the backup, Danny O'Neal. O'Neal and Hunter Simmons is right behind him. All three guys are new to the Badger program here this year. And O'Neal, no problem. His first play, Kekahuna connects there on the far side. And Billy Edwards, again, this is the play. As you said, Anthony, a non-contact injury at the top of your screen.
And when you think about the fact that the first 2 years for Luke Fickell, and every Wisconsin viewer is thinking the same thing right now, between Tanner Mordecai, Tyler Van Dyke, now you see the season opener with another veteran quarterback who's transferred in, leaving the game with an injury.
Luke Fickell's going to go for it, though, with the backup quarterback, Danny O'Neal, a transfer out of SDSU. And picks up the first down. Oh, he's lit a fire at Camp Randall, including up here with Monte Ball.
Because I tell you what, it's unfortunate, of course, what's happened with Billy, but as you were mentioning earlier, right, the Iowa game, you get your shot when stuff like this happens. So O'Neal knows what he's doing right now. He knows what this moment is.
And Monte Ball knows of what he speaks, seizing that opportunity. For O'Neal, he was a starter at San Diego State, so he knows what this moment can mean. He knows what it's like to be under the fire.
Yeah, started every single game as a freshman at San Diego State. Was a true backup competition between O'Neal and Simmons here this year. Right up the gut, nearly at the first down marker. Dupree, a really good run, and Hondrew saving the first down for Miami.
Tell you what, I'm very excited to see Grimes, right, for this offense, right? Because at Kansas, this offense averaged 420 yards with 30 points per game as well. Unbelievable. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this team develops under Grimes.
And Monte, I got a chance to talk to Jonathan Taylor a couple of weeks back at Colts training camp. And he sounded just like you. We were mentioning eye candy earlier.
With the train formation on 2nd and 3. O'Neal under center, drops back to pass, and a big loss. Brought down nearly at midfield. It's Adam Trick once again. What a night he's putting up for this Miami defense. 5 significant plays by Trick.
The athleticism of Trick is one of the things that his coaching staff has been marveling at. But then beyond that, his playmaking ability showing up tonight. There was initial penetration on the interior from Malcolm McCain, and then Trick just continuing to run the hoop, finishing up the edge beyond the shoulders of Davis Heinze.
4 tackles, 1 sack for Adam Trick. And a huge loss brings it to 3rd and 15.
Not a lot of plays in the playbook for 3rd and 15.
And a flag.
Offense, 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
And Monte, it can understandably be deflating when the starting quarterback has to leave the lineup, but then that's where the leadership, the O-line, the other players, the veterans around everyone on the field right now for Wisconsin have to make sure that they're able to show that cohesiveness and have people step forward to really get this drive rolling.
Absolutely.
Billy Edwards is making his way back to the locker room.
This is a very important drive, to your point, right? Team knows exactly what happened, and they gotta put points on the board here.
On 3rd and 20, after the 5-yard penalty, O'Neal with his feet spinning, brought down at about the 37-yard line. Again, Adam Trick with his 5th tackle of the first half. And Billy Edwards is walking off back into the locker room, and will certainly get looked at there throughout halftime.
It's just such an unfortunate situation. You know, Fickell, of course, let's just call it what it is, right? He's got some fire under him, right? That seat is a little hot because of last season, not making a bowl game, and then you come out, of course, and this is not what you draw up with your starting quarterback getting injured. But this is the time for O'Neal. He's got to step up.
If you were down on the sideline, how would you rally the troops?
That we have to move on. We can't change what's happened. We got to move on. And they do prep for this stuff. We've done it when I was there at Wisconsin. Starters going down, you fake it. Next person has to come up, step up, and make plays.
Miami's using its first time out. Montee Ball, congratulations on the College Football Hall of Fame induction, and thank you for joining us up here in the booth.
Thank you for having me. I got a lot of respect for what you guys do, because this is there's a lot of stats and stuff in front of me, but great job to the both of you. Thank you for this.
We'll be back. Well, in this series, Billy Edwards Jr., the starting quarterback for the Badgers, in his debut, you can see that on the right of your screen, a non-contact injury. He said he was wearing that knee brace for precautionary reasons. Injured that knee in the preseason, as was reported. But Wisconsin, as you know, has had injuries in the last 2 years. Tanner Mordecai broke his throwing hand, missed 3 games in 2023, and then Tyler Van Dyke suffered a torn ACL in his right knee against Alabama last year. But some life is Badgers special teams trying to give them with about 5:23 left to play. We will take another quick timeout here in the second quarter. Badgers lead 3-0. And making plays like this on special teams. Well, we've seen a couple of similar plays here, but this is ruled a touchback as we bring in our rules analyst, Mike Pereira. Take us through it, Mike.
Yeah, it's just a question of forget the position of the body of the player. It's all ball. So it looks to us like as the ball bounces up, it looks like it does break the plane, and it just has, the tip of the ball has to break the plane. You can see the back judge was directly on the line, and so, again, ruling this a touchback, there was nothing more that they could do, certainly.
All right, Mike Pereira, we knew we'd get you in right before the half and make you work a little bit. 5:23 left to play. You're in this first half. Play clock's at 4. Now, the Badgers have been threatening offensively. Miami has struggled, quite frankly, in finding some consistency here in this first half. Wisconsin a big advantage in time of possession. About 16:45 here in this first half to Miami's about 8 minutes or so. Empty set for the Red Hawks on 2nd and 6. Kenny Tracy motions in. The offset, it is Tracy pushing his way across the 30-yard line to pick up the first down. Well, Saturday, it's a huge slate of action featuring Purdue, Maryland, 7th-ranked Oregon, USC, and Washington on the field, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. We talk about this weekend, Labor Day weekend. You got football Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Big Ten debuting here tonight with 4 different teams. And there's your lineup coming up on Saturday. You'll be over at the Ball State Purdue game.
That's right, headed to West Live.
If you see a sleepy Anthony Herron on the road here tonight after this one, help him out a little bit. There's Tracy with the pickup.
I will sleep after week 1, LB. I'm running on college football, coursing through my veins.
Brings up 2nd down on 2nd and 5. Tracy, you mentioned Miami lost him last year, the 2nd day of fall camp, but he's now healthy. His coaching staff feels like he's the strongest that he's been. A hard hit to break it up. Acard. Emilio Acard, one of the young corners. There's been some question marks there in the defensive backfield about how good this Badger team can be back there.
It's been a really physical preseason for Wisconsin as well. Parker Peterson got some fantastic penetration, was able to clean up DeQuan Finn in the pocket as he gets the ball out. That's where Agard able to come and clean things up on the outside.
No Nazir for Curine. He started 18 games last year, but an ongoing lawsuit with the NCAA on eligibility has put him out of week 1. He would certainly be a starter at that corner spot for the Badgers. Finn's in trouble in the backfield, gets smothered by a couple of Badgers. Riger first to get to him in his Badger debut.
You got pass rush working with coverage because Wisconsin went man across the board and they were plastered all over the Red Hawks receivers. That's where DeQuan Finn wants to get rid of the football. He sees no one's open. His eyes drop toward the pass rush, and then Mason Reiger able to finish at the pocket. But look at him, man on the outside against one of the best defensive backs in the Big Ten. No chance.
3 tackles, 1 sack for Reiger, and the 4th punt here for Miami. Tyrell Henry, another fair catch call. Right about at the 25-yard line. Well, welcome to Madison, Mason Reiger. You're welcome here for sure. Well, Badgers up 3-0, and Wisconsin's quarterback starter, Billy Edwards, is in the locker room. Melanie Ricks, what's the latest on Mr. Edwards?
Lisa, the official report I've gotten, questionable lower body. As you mentioned, he went back to the locker room. He's been taken in for evaluation.
So second half, maybe they haven't ruled out a possibility. I guess that's good for Billy Edwards and Badger fans, but I love the aggressiveness on the first series for Danny O'Neal. I mean, first play was a pass play and didn't shy away from it. We talked about he's been a starter at San Diego State, and there he evades the pressure, and a short pass to Dylan Jones coming out of the backfield in a gain of 1. Brings up second down.
And Danny O'Neal, like you referenced, Lisa, there was a training camp battle to earn the number 2 slot between O'Neal and Hunter Simmons. And O'Neal ends up winning that camp battle, but there were a lot of reps being split. O'Neal certainly the more experienced between the two, and he's got a presence about him. Luke Fickell has spoken about quite a bit.
O'Neal was able to come during the spring season. Hunter Simmons was not. You know, got those extra reps, which a lot of people here in Wisconsin thought could have been the tiebreaker here for O'Neal to win that backup spot. We got a timeout. We'll be back. Well, offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes tasked with the duty now of working with his backup quarterback. And his 4th stop as an offensive coordinator, his 9th FBS stop this century. We talked about Jeff Grimes, you know, last 3 stops. He was brought in for a reason. You know, increase the points per game at BYU as the offensive coordinator, shifted over to Baylor as the offensive coordinator and tight end coach. And you see there's a trend here. The offense has gotten better wherever he has been, especially in his last 3 stops as an OC. And we discussed his relationship and how much film time that he had with starter Billy Edwards. And now he's forced with, you know, working with his backup. Not to say that he hasn't worked with Danny O'Neal, but it's a different kind of chemistry with a different guy.
Billy Edwards has been so invested with the starter reps because he transfers in, and this is a really expansive offense for Jeff Grimes. There's more verbiage, there's motions. We talked about eye candy, the ball handling in the backfield and the footwork at the quarterback position. This wasn't an offense designed for Billy Edwards, but he was certainly the main focus to get right for this night.
Every scholarship quarterback for Wisconsin last year, all gone on the roster, and O'Neal gets swallowed up. Now once again here by Miami, Nasir Washington that time with the sack. He's the anchor inside for the Red Hawks. He made a huge jump in total tackles last year.
And all the experience that we reference on that Miami Red Hawks offense, not much return on that defense either. But you see the defensive front, especially in 3rd and long. The 3rd down has really been an exceptional down for Jeff Grimes in previous stops. But when you get to that long a yardage on 3rd down, Danny O'Neal made the proper decision. You don't put the ball in jeopardy. Don't put it in harm's way. Essentially, effectively, just make sure you don't make a bad play worse.
Miami with 1 timeout left. Wisconsin still has all 3 of its timeouts with 1:17 left. And forced a punt on 4th down.
And certainly some credit to Bill Brecken and this Miami defense. Wisconsin was starting to get that rushing attack going, but since the Billy Edwards injury, the tide has certainly turned.
Bertrams with a couple of punts. We got a flag on the snap as that ball trickles out of bounds on the far side.
Offside, kicking team number 84. That penalty's declined. It's first down.
That's Cole Weaver, Badgers wide receiver. Right now, the first 1,000 fans will get $20 off a Big Ten Plus annual pass and get access to over 2,700 more events across the Big Ten season. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to big10plus.com and make sure you enter 20OFF when selecting an annual pass at checkout to take advantage of this offer. You can get $20 off. I almost said 20,000. Now
How great would that be?
That would be quite a deal.
I mean, Happy New Year.
I had to check myself.
Everybody's downloading.
Right. Pin across the middle. Beautiful connection and a first down catch by Cole Weaver. He's connected with Weaver a couple of times now.
When you let DeQuan Finn stand in a clean pocket, he throws a gorgeous ball. Ohio State has seen that back in his Toledo days. The Illini have seen that as well. It's not only the legs that make DeQuan Finn a threat.
He was thinking about transferring. He was sniffing around Badger country too. He gets hit on the throw from the backside and brings up second down.
You have seen the pass rush for Wisconsin heat up throughout this half, and especially with the relative inexperience of the Red Hawks receiver core, they should feel confident, even though Wisconsin's pretty thin at corner like we touched on earlier. But to be able to stand in and challenge these wideouts, less than a minute to go. DeQuan Finn's a big game hunter.
That was Mason Riker once again. Now empty set here for Finn on 2nd and 10, and Finn will use his feet, dives across the 50-yard line, short of the first down. Darrell Peterson, the third, providing some pressure. Those guys whose experience on the defensive side. And the clock keeps on ticking. 3rd and 4. The corner's collapsing. Finn steps in and overshoots his receiver, Colsey, the Notre Dame transfer, but a flag there on the far side.
Impressive presence of mind for DeQuan Finn. He recognizes the clock is really their friend right now.
Deion Colsey, the intended receiver. I mentioned a transfer out of Notre Dame.
Pass interference, offense number 4. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. It's 3rd down.
That explains why Colsey was so open. Now, DeQuan Finn missed him, and the ball sails into the sideline, but officials ruling that Colsey pushed off. There's a reason the Red Hawks, if you look at the top of the screen here, Colsey gets into his route, just mushes the defensive back in the face, plants him on the ground.
So that's what I used to do with the Fighting Irish. Got a chance to play in the national championship game. Chuck Martin has talked about, like, I'm not worried about Colsey this season in the big moment. He's already been a part of a team that's had several big moments. Empty set again here for Miami. 3rd and 19, and Finn comes down. Triple Badgers getting to him. Peterson the first.
So Badgers hunt the quarterback right now.
Wisconsin. It's the first of the half.
Getting into these long yardage scenarios. We've seen Mason Riger getting home, Darrell Peterson as well. The pass rush has been a focal point for this defensive front. Yes, they've gotten bigger and beefier, but you see the Olay moves from guys who've added 20, 30 pounds. They're getting home to the quarterback.
Peterson's one of those guys. There's about 30-something guys on the Badger roster playing in their final season. Luke Fickell loves that. He thinks they can be hungry. He thinks that these are guys that are experienced, that can handle adversity better than, let's say, last year. Henry again lets it bounce. To the 25-yard line. And that is the first half. Well, points are at a premium here tonight in Madison.
Of course, a lot of the thoughts with the situation at quarterback for the 3rd consecutive year. But the team as a whole, they're in a dogfight right now with the Red Hawks.
Billy Edwards Jr. going down in a non-contact injury. That's certainly the headline number one for Badger fans, as you're referencing, Anthony. Went into the locker room with about 5 minutes left to play here in the first half as we check in with Melanie Ricks.
Coach, we saw Billy Edwards go back to the locker room. Obviously, you don't want to see it, but it's next man up mentality. How do you rally in the second half?
Oh, we just got to come back out here and play a little bit more consistent offensively. We got to be able to run the football. We got to be able to make some plays down the field. And we got to be able to protect the quarterback a little bit. So we got some work cut out for us. But hey, this is going to be a four-quarter game, and this is what we're made of.
On the defensive end, you've been a problem for Miami. How do you continue to do that?
Well, it starts up front. You got to stop the run. They're going to come out and obviously try to run the football. Quarterbacks run a football a bunch. We're just going to have to be really consistent in what we're doing.
Thank you, Coach.
Well, Luke Fickell happy with his defense, concerned about his starting quarterback, and looking for some offensive consistency here in the second half. We're at halftime. The Badgers ahead of Miami, 3-0. In the start of the second half between Miami and Wisconsin, a 42-yard field goal is the only score of the night here so far at Camp Randall. Anthony Herron, Lisa Byington, and Melanie Ricks with us on the sideline. Wisconsin deferred, and so will receive first here in the second half. McLaughlin will kick it off here for Miami. And the biggest question here right now is the health of starting quarterback for the Badgers, Billy Edwards, who did not come out to the field to warm up. Instead, it was Danny O'Neal and Hunter Simmons who were warming up. And so that's the biggest question here for Luke Fickell is how do you deal not only with just the shock of this happening for the third straight year, but now dealing with this, right, with your backup quarterback and trying to win a football game here tonight.
Well, offensively, it kind of felt like Wisconsin got into survival mode just to get out of the second quarter and into the halftime locker room. And in a situation like this, the majority of the reps through the offseason, spring, summer, everything leading up to this moment, Billy Edwards has gotten all of those with the ones, aside from a brief stretch where he did have to leave practice just a couple of weeks ago.
It's O'Neal out of the gates, and he throws on the first play of the second half, finds Chris Brooks Jr. for his third catch of his career, second catch of the night. If you're just joining us, this is what happened to Billy Edwards Jr. in the second quarter.
After the handoff, he's just carrying out the play fake and in a non-contact manner, goes down, ends up being able to limp off the field under his own power, then eventually works his way back to the locker room under his own power as well.
We talked about it, the third straight year that the Badgers have had an injured starting quarterback. Tanner Mordecai back in 2023, and Tyler Van Dyke last year tore his ACL against Alabama. Brings up third down after the carry by Jones, a loss of one. And certainly this has played a major part to, some of the win-loss woes that Wisconsin has faced in the last couple of years.
Well, this is around 3rd and 2. You got to challenge that offensive line.
Jones tries to do exactly that, pops out of that potential tackle. You can hear it all the way up here in the booth. He kept on moving and picks up the first down. A gain of 9.
Dylan Jones was a fantastic wrestler in high school, and Luke Fickell absolutely loves wrestlers. You understand why. 6 foot, about 210 pounds, runs with a fury and an intensity about him.
You'll see the words physical everywhere. Physical and together, and physicality is one of the reasons why Dylan Jones has got the starting nod at the running back position. A big game. Vinny Anthony has been waiting for that one right down the sideline, and back-to-back first down pickups for this Badger offense.
As much as the Redhawks defense is hunkering down on the run, you see bodies at the second and third level creeping closer and closer to the box. Vinny Anthony, Jaden Ballard, there are playmakers on the outside who've been anticipating taking advantage of one-on-one matchups.
Miami's Luke Evans missed that tackle, wants that one back in his second year at Miami. The longest pass play of the night, a gain of 31. And a great situation for the Badgers offense. 2 tight end set. O'Neal threads it out. Right at the marker to Tyrell Henry, who had 1 catch and playing in 4 games coming into tonight. And O'Neal is a perfect 3 for 3 right now on this drive.
Love the rhythm they're getting him into. And Jeff Grimes, their offensive coordinator, he's gone about the business of getting to know his various players and playmakers, even recognizing which passes do my various quarterbacks throw best. Billy Edwards was featuring the deep ball in the first half. We're seeing Danny O'Neal on the out route.
All kinds of motion by the Badgers. And the toss to Trex Kakahuna. You know, Anthony, I think there's definitely, for me, just in this read, more confidence, right, by this Badgers offense. And I wonder if it's just a psychological thing. Like, this is the reality that we're dealing with right now here tonight. You have halftime to talk about it, to scheme it up a little bit. And they just look like a different offense here in this first drive of the third quarter.
I certainly believe so. And to have Danny O'Neal, like we referenced earlier, he started games. He started the entire previous season at San Diego State. So he's been on the field. He's been in moments of leverage before.
O'Neal stepping up, trying to avoid pressure, and he's brought down in the backfield. And it brings up third down.
O'Neal not the athlete that Billy Edwards is. So as the play extends, this is a moment where if Billy Edwards is in there, maybe he can move the sticks, pick up a first down, be a threat to the defense. Right now it looks to me like Miami's defense doesn't have a lot of respect for the potential that Danny O'Neal will attack them with the deep ball. So they've been able to track him down and trace him down in a way that they weren't able to with Billy Edwards.
Silas Walters making the play here for Miami. Iaconelli looking for anything there on that inside run. And fourth down, so it'll be interesting what the Badgers do with this. Blakey makes the stop. They're going to go for it. Probably no surprise on 4th and 3. Dylan Jones is back in the game for Luke Fickell and Wisconsin.
Jackson Aker checking into the game as well. Feels that H-back sort of role. He's been a tight end. He was a high school running back. Anticipate seeing a lot of him at fullback this season.
And the timeout call here by Wisconsin. They'll chat about it. They got 3 yards to go. They converted on their first 4th down tonight. They got a chance here. You see, Billy Edwards is there in the huddle now in street clothes, officially been ruled out of the game, obviously. But, you know, Wisconsin looks like they're still going to go for it, Anthony. What do you make of this decision?
As they took that timeout, Luke Fickell's looking to the sideline. I saw him look at his offensive line coach, A.J. Blazek, and his O-line coach gave him a big, emphatic nod that they had a look they liked. They believe they can block this up.
9th play of the drive here coming up, and the most important play of the drive on 4th and 3. Takes it to Iaconelli. Interception into the end zone. That is Silas Walters, who breaks up any hope for the Badgers on this drive and saves a score. And Miami's chances here in the third quarter.
Did not bite on the play fake in the least. Great presence of mind. Silas Walters back in the end zone. He's a former walk-on. Moves to multiple positions for that Red Hawks defense, and eye discipline was a big part of the talk on this Bill Breakin defense. Silas Walters able to get that done, playing the nickel position on 4th down, snatching it away for the Red Hawks.
Wisconsin ahead 3-0, but playing now without its starting quarterback, Billy Edwards, who's been ruled out for the rest of the game, as we check in with Melanie Ricks.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, we don't know the extent of his injury. We know that it is a lower body, but immediately he jumped into the huddle, as you mentioned, talking to his teammates, making sure that he makes his rounds to the guys and just keep encouraging them. You can definitely see that his spirit is still in it, and his teammates are feeling him even off the field, Lisa.
Yeah, I love that his spirit is still in it, because you know that he has to feel deflated with his debut. All kinds of excitement he told us about. We got to meet with him yesterday. He was telling us that his sister and his parents were making the trip from Virginia to come watch his Badger debut. He was set up here for what he was excited because he had been to 3 different schools. He'd been a quarterback that hadn't played. He'd been a quarterback that had been a backup. And now he's built his way in his career to be a starter and the expected starter and the buildup of that for him this year. The pass to the near side to Deion Colzie. He makes his first catch in his Miami career.
And one of the unique things about, while this is the 3rd consecutive quarterback who's transferred in during Luke Fickell's time here, Billy Edwards Jr. is a guy who's already in the Big Ten. So Big Ten fans have been able to watch the trajectory of his Big Ten career during those seasons he was at Maryland, being the consummate teammate as he backed up Taulia Tagovailoa.
Finn, after that pass completion, 5 of 9 here tonight. Remember, he had that big 20-yard completion in the first half. As that Badger defense swallows up any sort of Miami attack, Sebastian Cheeks once again at the point of attack. And it's the 3rd Wisconsin tackle for loss here tonight. What is going through his mind? You see, I talk about his different stops at Wake Forest and Maryland. He redshirted that year at Wake Forest, transferred over to Maryland, was Taulia Tagovailoa's backup at Maryland before having the best season of his career last year, which really projected him into a wanted target as he entered his name in the transfer portal and landed here in Madison. Finn looks left, he takes it himself, dives across the 35-yard line, and brings up 3rd down.
Well, both quarterbacks, their 3rd stop, first year with this program, and the Miami coaching staff, Chuck Martin, he talked about all the additional work that DeQuan Finn has been putting in. One of those guys who's been the first one in, last one to leave. The additional time as Chuck Martin, not only the head coach, but offensive play caller, putting in the extra work, the lonely work with his quarterback.
3rd and 8, Miami is 0 for 5 on 3rd downs here tonight. In fact, they have a minus 13 total on yardage on 3rd down plays.
Timeout, Miami. So 1st and a half.
So Chuck Martin will call his first timeout of the 2nd half. We'll take a timeout with him. We'll be back. Big Ten Plus gives you access to more live Big Ten games, and tomorrow you can see Wisconsin men's soccer against Western Michigan. Download the Big Ten Plus app today. It's always game on. Anthony Herron, Lisa Byington, Melanie Ricks on the sideline for us. Big 3rd and 8 opportunity. The Miami offense, Wisconsin defense. Mike Tressel has talked about, look at this, the yards allowed. We talked about negative 13 on 3rd down plays. Generate takeaways, eliminate explosive plays, and execute in the clutch. Mike Tressel has talked to his defense. Well, an opportunity here for the Badgers as they bring pressure, and Finn shrugs it off, but overshoots his intended receiver, Deion Colzie, and brings up 4th down. That quarterback pressure, Jameer Latimer, in his first year with Wisconsin, providing the blitz.
That was dangerous territory for a moment because DeQuan Finn on the hoof. When he's extending the play, he can hurt you with his legs. Kept his eyes down the field, just overshoots his target.
Tyrell Henry. Now there's a flag. An obvious couple of flags come out. The Badgers will benefit from this. The 3rd penalty for Miami.
Interference. Kicking team number 21. 15-yard penalty for the spot of the foul. It's 1st down.
A big mistake. Tony Coleman Jr.
There were a few bang-bang plays earlier. This is one of the more obvious calls of the night for the officiating crew. Just gift wrapping additional yardage for the Badgers. It's a Miami defense. It's really been holding up well keeping this team in the game as the offense has gotten shut out.
What do you see about the different play calling between Edwards and O'Neal here at quarterback for this Badger offense?
So far this half, they've gone back to more motions and shifts pre-snap.
Pretty straightforward on that handoff to Dylan Jones. Devin Bell meeting him there, bringing up second down. No gain on the play.
And the opposing defense, when they know the backup's in the game, certainly been in those situations, LB, it does give you additional life. It gives you some additional confidence in the way you can attack the opposing team. So the challenge to this Wisconsin offensive line is to take this game over. Wisconsin had been one of the more QB-proof programs in the country where it didn't matter who was behind center because they had the guys up front to get it done.
O'Neal with 3 pressuring him, and it's off the hands of Yakimelli. You know, the play was there, they just couldn't execute it. There were 3 charging at O'Neal, led by Adam Trick.
And that's what this offseason has really been about for Wisconsin. I mean, to bring in Billy Edwards and have a talented signal caller back there can certainly take it to another level. But when I was facing the Badgers, we certainly faced some good quarterbacks, and they've had some excellent ones over the years. But the star for the Badgers offense historically has been the O-line and the running backs.
Well, 3rd and 9. There's the motion. O'Neal takes it right up the gut, takes some contact, and keeps on ticking. A big gain and a first down for O'Neal.
And this is one of those plays where Jeff Grimes tests the eye discipline of the quarterback. A little burst being shown up the middle by Danny O'Neal. Led through the hole by Joe Brunner.
Biggest play on the ground here tonight for the Badgers, a gain of 17. Wisconsin now 124 rushing yards here tonight. Getting above that 150 mark here for the game was kind of the magic marker for the Badgers last season. That pass just off the mark and short. Again, intended for Vinny Anthony, who's been targeted several times by both quarterbacks, O'Neal and Edwards. Adam Trick again providing that quarterback pressure.
O'Neal certainly had Anthony open out in the flat. Ball just sort of died on him as he was getting outside the numbers.
Well, Trick, one of the 4 returning starters on defense here for Miami. It brings up 2nd and 10. Darian Dupree, their running back, and a pickup of a first down. Eugene Hilton Jr., the true freshman with his first catch of the Badgers, and it's a first down catch. Let's check in with Melanie Ricks.
Something that we're seeing here, Lisa, Coach Fickell mentioned after last season, he and his staff learned they've got to teach their players how to have the competitive maturity to move on.
A big catch, first down for the Badgers. Grant Steck, a gain of 24.
How about the Badgers mixing in a little bit of hurry up with Danny O'Neal at QB? His tight end, Grant Steck, able to go down to his bottom hip. Ball starts to die a bit, but O'Neal fitting it in between multiple defenders. A fantastic grab by Steck.
3 tight end set. Yeah, that hurry up Melanie's report. We'll get back to Melanie on that,
Right.
but the Badgers are thinking end zone right now here, Mel. Darian Dupree, the running back here for Wisconsin. And can they get their first touchdown here of the season? And 1st and goal.
Prior to the delay of game,
Timeout here for the
timeout,
Badgers.
Wisconsin. It's their 2nd of the half.
It's the 2nd timeout of the 2nd half. Luke Fickell again with another prime opportunity here in the 3rd quarter. Well, Billy Edwards can't play, but he's going to do all he can do on the sideline, given that helmet tap to Danny O'Neal. O'Neal has picked his brain all preseason, and now with an opportunity here, the 2nd red zone trip of the 3rd quarter here to Wisconsin. Remember, the last one ended in an interception. And 1st and goal.
I think you got to lean on your big guys right here.
Aker and Dupree are there, and a touchdown, the first of the season in for the Badgers. Vinny Anthony. Gotta feel good for Danny O'Neal. His first touchdown pass in his Badger career. And the extra point is good, and it's a little bit of breathing room now for the Badgers, going up 10-0.
Confidence being shown. Jeff Grimes and jubilation at Camp Randall. Chief amongst them, starting quarterback Billy Edwards.
Tonight's Good Hands moment, sponsored by Allstate. They've been targeting Vinny Anthony all night.
Miami has been daring them to continue to test these one-on-one matchups. Danny O'Neal really got into a rhythm on that drive with his arm and his legs. Vinny Tony, as we like to call him, making it happen in the end zone. First touchdown of the season for the Badgers. Careful, Billy.
Right. Billy Edwards can't do any dancing with his football helmet on the field, but he'll, as much as he can in that body will allow him to, do some dancing there on the sideline. Vacos to kick off. That drive, 7 plays, 54 yards, 2:42 on the clock, and a touchback. Let's check in with Dave Remsen for a studio update.
Well, Lisa, and like the Badgers, the Gophers with a little bit of breathing room up in the Twin Cities. Drake Lindsey hitting a wide open. Jalen Smith, the redshirt freshman, takes it into the end zone. Gophers 23-10 over Buffalo. They're in the fourth.
Yeah, 4 Big Ten teams making their debut on a Thursday night. That's the most that I can remember in some time on the week 1 of a Thursday.
I trust your memory more than mine.
Well, that's dangerous, Anthony. Luke Fickell, enjoyed our conversation with him yesterday. He talked about adversity, and he felt like with the experience of this team, even though there's some new faces, a lot of guys, as we had mentioned, playing in their final year, he felt like this team was well-equipped to handle some of the adversity. We've seen it here tonight, getting wrapped up. Sebastian Cheeks spinning Kenny Tracy down to the turf.
Referenced out, this Mike Tressel defense has been looking to create takeaways. It's an opportunity here as Cheeks had Tracy stacked up, then late right there. Coming in with the peanut punch was Latimer. They ruled forward progress had already been stopped.
Only 31 yards on the ground here for Miami here tonight. The run defense, the second most yards allowed in the Big Ten last year. Certainly one of the weaknesses in this defense last year for the Badgers. Connection to Cole Weaver, the tackle by Ricardo Holman. And you look at O'Neal after throwing his first touchdown pass. I love how Edwards is just always right there, right?
Right.
Mentoring and talking in his ear. I mentioned that O'Neal, before he even knew this situation would evolve, trying to prepare himself for this situation, always picking the brain of Billy Edwards in the preseason. At every practice, at every play, why do you do this? Why do you prepare this way? That D-line pushing, pursuing, and making the play. The Badger T. Allegro with the finish.
It's a difficult combination for a Mike Tressel defense when you want to stop the run up front. You want to take the football away, and he said he wants to make sure this defense doesn't give up chunk plays. They've been able to do that throughout the night tonight. It's Christian Allegro leading the way. Mike Tressel feeling his linebacker.
Mike Tressel said, look, Allegro's wearing that number 0. He's got to be able to make some plays. He can't shy away. Catch is made by Henry. at the 36-yard line. Tomorrow, the opening Spike Classic takes over the Kohl Center as the 8th-ranked Badgers face 14th-ranked Kansas. Then Sunday, Wisconsin and Texas square off in a can't-miss top 10 showdown. Women's volleyball this weekend on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Keep it here for the best volleyball conference in the country.
I saw some of the Longhorns walking around campus.
Did you?
Earlier today. I mean, it's gorgeous weather day in Madison. Took a little stroll. I went to get a sandwich.
Was that it? That was the story? You just saw them walking on campus?
Well, yes, but they looked ready. I'll say that.
Oh, okay.
They
You
certainly
didn't do
looked
like any
prepared for big
passing
effort.
drills with them or anything, huh? Nearly picked off. It was a near interception and then a near reception. Silas Walters already has one pick here tonight. Intended receiver Chris Brooks Jr. Walters had that pick off, that interception in the end zone, in the red zone. He almost had a second one here.
Definitely showing confidence in Danny O'Neal. The run game has been stymied by that front seven from the Red Hawks. One-on-one matchups, they're going man coverage on the outside.
On 2nd and 10. Pursuing it, Dupree. Just short of the first down. Brings up 3rd down, a pickup of 8. Look at the second effort.
As the legs of Darian Dupree just continue to churn, barreling through multiple tacklers. Gets it to a 3rd and short.
3rd and 2 to be exact. Akers in at the fullback position. He will pick up the first down.
It looked like he ran for a really long time. It was a very short game. I thought maybe that was a 15-yard game. He just narrowly picked up 3rd and 2.
McCain and Kuwach combining for the tackle.
This is the point in the game, getting into the latter stages of the 3rd quarter. It's a D-line for Miami. Relative inexperience.
On the jet sweep, but a flag coming in at the end of the play. Kekahuna, some of that motion that we have talked about, pre-snap motion, jet sweep motion. There's Brian Banks, a referee.
Holding. Offense number 1. Yard penalty from the previous spot. It's 1st down.
That's Chris Brooks Jr., the wide receiver.
A really physical player for them on the outside. Probably their best blocking wideout for the Badgers. And in theory, that should end up being really important for this offense, especially with the way that some of these jet motions, jet sweeps, the exterior of the run game can attack the numbers.
He'll force the throw. The pass is broken up again by Silas Walters, who's been active here in the 3rd quarter. Kekahuna, the intended receiver.
Seeing how much the Red Hawks defense is tightening up coverage on the outside. Again, the ball just starts to flutter out of Danny O'Neal's hand as he gets it from one hash mark, trying to get it all the way to the opposite numbers. That's a long stretch to be able to deliver the football if you can't put enough RPMs behind it.
Walters has an interception, a couple of breakups, and 7 tackles here on the night. O'Neal, all kinds of time on 2nd and 20. Moving his feet, fires, and connects with Jaden Ballard for his 2nd catch of the night.
One of the things that Luke Fickell said about Danny O'Neal was the fact that he's got not only the starter experience, but he's got a presence about him that shows up in key moments.
And it's 3rd and 15.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter.
It's the end of the 3rd quarter. Well, we all have seen jump arounds here, but I'm going to promise you a jump around that you have never seen before. If that's not a tease, Anthony, I don't know what is.
Count me in.
Time to do it, Madison, with the lights out at Camp Randall. Jump around is here.
great is that?
Fans had the LED bracelets for the first time. Kind of gave it like a concert flair.
Being at a Coldplay concert.
That's right. Well, Coldplay actually played here.
Mind your P's and Q's at a Coldplay concert.
Right. O'Neal steps inside, avoids traffic with the defense pursuing, and the King finishing the play.
Yeah, those bracelets, that is a new addition. That was kind of history adjacent when you and Monte Ball were up here together. You both made history. I've never really made the history of my own, but I was at the game. Jump Around started in the late 90s. The 1999 game when Ron Dayne broke the all-time rushing record, I was unfortunately a part of the Iowa defense that gave up those yardage.
So you were a part of history.
Oh, man, Jump Around, I didn't enjoy it the same that night like some folks do.
Here's Phillips Williams.
I'm able to appreciate it differently now from up here.
Yeah. I noticed you weren't necessarily jumping around.
My knees are open.
Okay. We'll be back after this. Well, the Badgers trying to improve on their 5-7 record from last year. It is going to be tough sledding playing the national champs Ohio State. 3-20-24 college football playoff opponents. 6 teams in the preseason top 25. I mean, just look at the month of October alone with Michigan, Iowa, Ohio State, and Oregon.
No other teams in the Big Ten with more than 5 ranked teams on their schedule this season. It is a gauntlet.
Ringer swings out, and Finn finds him. About halfway to the sticks. Agard again making the play.
And when you think about it, Lisa, it's part of the reason that first-ranked strength of schedule in the Big Ten, second in the entire country. That's a part of the reason they went about the work they did over the offseason as well, because the run defense for the Badgers started to wane throughout the season last year, especially after they got into November. It's a part of why they added bulk and heft, all these 300-pounders they have now on this football team. They want to be able to sustain them.
Added really 7 significant transfers. To your point, Anthony, do you feel a different presence watching this out there?
Honestly, I don't even know that the approach tonight indicates an urgency for that different presence. Part of that due to the Billy Edwards injury, it would seem.
Illegal formation, offense, more than 4 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty, it's second down.
300 pounds was kind of that magic weight marker, right?
Yeah.
That
I could never get there myself. I tried on a number of occasions. I couldn't quite pull it off to be a D lineman.
Wisconsin will decline the penalty. It's third down.
On the defensive front, I'm seeing it show up more on the defensive front. The offensive line, not necessarily seeing them take an approach to really try to bully the Red Hawks.
So you wouldn't have been able to make this graphic, is what you're saying?
No, unfortunately not. There were a number of NFL coaches who wanted me to get there when they moved me to D tackle. I just couldn't quite make it happen.
Another third down. Here for this Badgers defense. The pressure's coming. Allegro misses the tackle. And Finn escapes. Can't quite get to the marker. Cheeks on the end of that play. Allegro just had that chance. Couldn't bring him down. Brings up fourth down.
You're seeing the Badgers in the backfield a lot. And that word attack can mean a few different things. Because it's not like Mike Tressel is just dialing up a blitz every individual play. But we're seeing movement within the front 7. We're seeing stemming linebackers mugging up into the A-gaps, walking to show presence over the center, and then darting out.
And Stainton again with another punt. There's Henry. Makes the catch at the 19-yard line. That's where Wisconsin will begin in the 4th.
I don't care what it takes to get the best, but realize that you have an opportunity in front of you right now But every single guy in here needs to grab it. And you need to hold each other accountable to do it. It's not going to get done if it's only one or two guys leading the way. Every single guy, every single day, every single minute.
Well, the Badgers practiced in Platteville for about 10 practices in about 2 weeks, and brilliant for Luke Fickell to bring one of the legendary Badgers and J.J. Watt to talk to this team. I mean, you know, motivated just listening to that, and I think Dylan Jones is motivated too, moving and spinning and finding his way for a first down here for the Badgers.
Jones certainly known for his physicality, but man, there's some suddenness to his moves.
J.J. Watt, though, didn't mince any words, and I think Luke Fickell, you know, appreciated that message to the team. Luke Fickell had said, like, leadership is a skill. There are some natural-born qualities, but just trying to build the leadership skills, the adversity responses of this team here this year. And bringing J.J. Watt was part of the recipe to that. Jones picks up a couple. Anthony, Luke Fickell had said he was looking at himself in the response to last year. And obviously the Badgers losing the last 5 games of the season, certainly disappointing for everyone. But he said, I didn't do a good job recognizing the reactions. He felt like it started with that Penn State game, which began the 5-game losing skid last year. He said, you know, I didn't recognize where my players' minds were at. They said that after that loss, their minds weren't right until Thursday of the next week. It's Dupree.
And part of the work they went about, you know, the 300-pounders getting bigger on the defensive line, a more aggressive physical approach on offense, that's a part of it. But the emotional maturity was really attacked over the offseason as well.
We see a little bit of tempo here in this offense. 3rd and 5. O'Neal with some time, and flags coming out all across the place. Hilton, the intended receiver, Coleman Jr. again, in the wrong place here for Miami.
Pass interference. Defense number 21. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
This is a freshman that this staff is really, really excited about. Got the bloodlines, his dad, T.Y. Hilton, had an exceptional college career, and then sensational in the National Football League as well. It's the way he's trying to adjust to the ball in flight. Over 6 foot, over 200 pounds. He's got a great frame.
He's wearing that number 13 for Pops, too. And Dupree, again, he likes that inside run here for the Badgers. And right now, Wisconsin looking to salt away some time here on this drive. On 2nd and 7. Badgers almost 300 total yards. O'Neal now at the place of an injured Billy Edwards. Injured himself in the 2nd quarter, non-contact injury. There's a pass to Grant Steck. You brought up a great point between Steck. We've seen Steck out there and Hilton out there, and you feel like there might be a comfort level between those guys and Danny O'Neal.
When you think about it, Danny O'Neal has been rotating with the 2s at quarterback, and guys like Grant Steck, Eugene Hilton, those are the guys he's been practicing with most. So there's a comfort and a trust that's already developed between QB and pass catchers because of the amount of time they've spent together on task.
He'll just get sandwiched and swallowed up by that Miami defense. And once again, Adam Trick. He's having a career night.
And it's been against Davis Heinsohn over and over again. And Heinsohn just joined the team over the summer. And you can see Wisconsin's doing a lot of what we call jump setting in the game, where they want to try and get the hands on the defensive front from the Red Hawks really quickly to try to shut down their ability to get into their pass rush. But it's a skill. When you jump set, you really have to have your footwork down correctly and your hand placement.
Here's 2nd down. Off the fingertips of Lance Mason. Mason looking for his first career catch as a Badger. Transferred over from Missouri State. I mentioned Tucker Ashcraft is unavailable. They do believe it's a undisclosed amount of time, but they do believe that his injury is not season ending. In the meantime, Mason will get some snaps. was an absolute stud at the FCS level as a tight end. And it's 3rd and 18. O'Neal going for it all. He's got the receiver off the hands. It was nearly brought down by Jaden Ballard. Caleb Martin on the coverage, and the pass breakup in the end zone.
It's a great recovery from Martin. Danny O'Neal, it's the first time we've really seen him attack deep down the middle. Jaden Ballard was beyond the coverage of Caleb Martin. The ball began to sail on O'Neal, and it allowed the opportunity for Martin to recover. Nearly had an opportunity for an interception.
Ballard's just got 1 career touchdown at Ohio State back in 2022, fingertips away from his 2nd career touchdown. Billups Williams with the fair catch call. Miami will begin at the 10-yard line. We'll take a timeout. Tonight's drive summary brought to you by American Family Insurance. The last 3 drives, a couple of punts, and a touchdown. And maybe what you might expect when you've had to shift from a starting quarterback to the backup quarterback mid-game here for the Badgers, and a lot of new faces and new pieces to try to piece together here tonight.
In a brand new offensive system. So yes, there's a lot to surmount for Wisconsin in the game tonight. But they also return an offensive line between 3 of their starters, return more starts than the majority of the teams in college football.
The defense has been good for the Badgers, holding Miami to 90 total yards here tonight. Finn trying to add to that tally and connects with Colsey. Drops it right in the breadbasket. And a flag right at the 5-yard line.
It's a gorgeous pass from DeQuan Finn and a nice toe tap from Deion Colsey.
Holding. Offense number 76. Half the distance go from the previous spot. It's 1st down.
Wow, so that play will come back.
So Gavin Brewers, the holding call.
His 3rd year at Miami, an Ohio native. So 1st and 15. Finn from the end zone. Caught, intercepted. Preston Tuckman, a pick off for the Badgers. And just short of the goal line. Pushed out, nearly had a pick 6.
The ruling on the field is an interception by the defense. The runner stepped out of the bounds at the 2-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal, Wisconsin.
Well, Lisa, you mentioned the main goals listed by Mike Tressel for this defense. They finally got their takeaway. It's a great break on the football. Those zone eyes back into the quarterback. Looked for a moment like DeQuan Finn liked the angle he saw after he shifted his weight, threw back over the middle. And you had the waiting, wanting hands of Preston Tuckman in position to make the play.
Remember, just 4 interceptions last year. That was tied for last amongst Power 4 schools. Just 12 takeaways the whole season. And Wisconsin has its first in game number 1. Danny O'Neal looking to orchestrate a 2nd touchdown. Here for the Badgers, Yakimelli trying to push his way in just short. It'll be 2nd and goal.
Coming into tonight's game between Riley Mahlman, Jake Renfro, Joe Brunner, had 111 career starts across that O-line that returned for 2025. It's amongst the most in America. I like some of the trust they've shown in Danny O'Neal tonight, but to me, this is about the O-line for the Badgers.
And Jake Renfro, the center, who's gone the entire way. He's been injured in fall camp. So important for that offensive line. The extra effort, just short. Inches away for the Badgers and Yakimelli.
We've been referencing the depth in the backfield at running back for Wisconsin. Cade Giacomelli, he runs hard. He gets a little bit of extra help from the big guys there. The officials ruled that the elbow came down before the ball broke the plane.
With the I formation, it'll be O'Neal who will try his best. Touchdown! His first as a Badger on the ground. A passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown for the backup, Danny O'Neal. And Wisconsin pulling away here against Miami in the fourth. It was Preston Zachman with the interception to set this touchdown up for the Badgers. And points off turnovers here for Wisconsin. Vacos with the extra point, and it's 17-0 Badgers.
They allowed those big Badgers to move people against their will. Danny O'Neal is not a big presence physically. You've really seen his impact on this game because he's had to step in for the injured Billy Edwards. Defense turns to offense for the Badgers. The way that Zachman, the free safety position, breaks on the ball, makes a great grab, nearly gets into the end zone, and then they do trust that offensive line. It's a battered and beleaguered defensive front. That Red Hawks D-line has been game throughout the night. They've given fits at times to the Wisconsin offensive line.
You know, let's not forget that guy right there, Preston Zachman, had half of the interceptions for Wisconsin all season long. He had 2 of the 4 last year. He's got the first INT here this year. Now 6 career interceptions for Zachman. And then laying it out on a silver platter for this Wisconsin offense so they take advantage. Now it's Keith Reynolds. The Big Show delivers highlights, post-game interviews, and complete
receiver
analysis.
gave the T-signal, which is an invalid signal.
After football,
the result of the play will be a touchback.
And the Fox Sports app. And so Reynolds giving an invalid signal, so it'll be a touchback here for Miami. The old invalid signal call.
Should should that be known as the Brett Bielema rule? The whole T-signal deal? There was the bowl game between the Illini and South Carolina. Former Wisconsin coach Brett Bielema took issue to the T-signal being given by the Gamecocks in their return game. And college football immediately stepped in and made a rule change over the offseason.
I think it's safe to say it could be the Bielema rule. It's a new one here for this year. And Finn back to throw. They found some success in the air. Phillips Williams with another catch, his first of the night.
Some hurry up now from the Red Hawks. That was one of the discussions that we had with Chuck Martin just about the continued development of a 7th-year quarterback, DeQuan Finn. Where can he work to continue to improve now that he's back in the Mid-American Conference?
He's found 5 different receivers for 76 yards, 9 of 15. He goes back into the air, back to his same receiver, Phillips Williams. And right now, Phillips Williams just short of the first down. And he'll bring up 2nd and short.
We were referencing Wisconsin's schedule earlier. Miami, they've got Rutgers next week. So they'll certainly have no rest before facing another Big Ten opponent.
Finn has to scramble on 2nd down, and that's out of reach. Yeah, you see Miami on the schedule, and you think, well, the history, right? If you follow the Mid-American Conference, 5 straight bowl games, for this program, but a much different look here this year, and really the highest turnover team for that guy, Chuck Martin. We had talked about, we had 29 seniors this year. We have no returning starters on offense. We've got 40 new players. I mean, your guess is as good as mine on what kind of team they would trot out here today. You had asked him about the functionality, the biggest difference in dealing with some of these new players. And again, well, this time with a couple of flags coming out on the far sideline. Hill on the coverage.
Pass interference. Defense number 5. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
That's Deani Hill in his first year playing with Wisconsin.
There's a delicate balance for Chuck Martin and Miami coming into really the initial 2 games of the season, because they like to play with physicality. That's what's made them the winningest program in the MAC over the last 8 years.
Finn again shifting to his right. You see his speed, his capability of moving there on the ground. And Finn has run it 12 times here tonight.
Part of the decision making for a game like this and what they'll face next week is whether or not that's the formula to win this particular game against a Big Ten team that values physicality in the way Wisconsin does.
Timeout, Wisconsin. It's their 3rd and final.
And a timeout here for Wisconsin, their 3rd and final timeout. And Chuck Martin and this offense driving. The Wisconsin coaching staff, I think it was Jeff Grimes who, when he was looking at this staff and Miami in the past when they've played some Big Ten teams or some Power 4 teams. So the scores in the last 3 years against Power 4 opponents, they've been close at halftime. And they've almost been 1-score games. You know, they do a good job in keeping it a low-scoring game to stay in the game against these Power 4 opponents. Of course, they beat Cincinnati in 2023, Northwestern in 2022.
There's certainly no strangers to this stage and this opportunity. You can tell how well coached they are. Chuck Martin, as the head coach, calls the offense, but also defensively. This Bill Breakin defense, this defensive front, I mean, Adam Trick has had just an amazing night. Nasir Washington on the interior, the way he's been battling the inside of that Wisconsin offensive line.
Finn coming out of that timeout, eludes the pressure, and it'll be 3rd and 5. Well, Chuck Martin, the longest tenured active coach in the Mid-American Conference, 30 years in counting in college coaching, 17 as a head coach. And last year he surpassed the late great Randy Walker as the all-time winningest coach in Miami history. And when he was talking to us in our production meeting, he talked to us on campus, and he was on a Zoom call with us, and I think did like 1,000 laps in the indoor practice facility.
It was constant
the entire
motion.
time.
He never stopped.
That's what I'm most impressed with. Forget the win-loss record. Intercepted! The 2nd pickoff of the night for Zachman.
Zachman comes from an athletic family, and I've referenced how thin Wisconsin is at corner. We know Ricardo Hallman is exceptional, but at the safety position, they've got depth, talent, experience, and playmaking ability just like this, to be able to track the ball with your eyes, moving across the field from one hash to the next. There's arm talent for DeQuan Finn, but these Badgers safety has been on it, especially in the second half.
Preston Zachman already has his total interception tally from last year in this game alone in week 1. And halfway to the takeaway mark of 4 interceptions total last year for Wisconsin as a defense. And Dupree just chewing up some clock. Look at that. Halfway there already.
We've seen this Mike Tressel defense, and there were adjustments that they were making throughout the offseason, not only just adding the additional heft, but how they wanted to attack schematically. And my guess would be, with the schedule that's coming up for the Badgers, there'll be some additional wrinkles that they may continue to throw at future opponents.
Another catch for Vinny Anthony. Mike Tressel had told us we have to have more attack rather than hanging on for dear life. And you know, as a former defensive lineman, that's got to be the mentality. I feel like the defense has checked a lot of boxes here tonight. Not obviously totally there, but have answered some questions here in week 1.
I completely agree. Even just visually, things that look different. Last season, the majority of the time, they only had 2 defensive linemen in a 3-point stance. We're seeing more guys with their hand in the dirt, showing the willingness to hit blocks, to strain their bodies at the point of attack.
Dupree gets another chance, continuing to make his way, second, third effort. And just a yard short of picking up the first down. For those who just joining us, Billy Edwards Jr. went out of this game in the second quarter. You see the right top of your screen, a non-contact injury. He was wearing that knee brace. He injured himself in the preseason, had to sit out a little bit of practices and stuff, and he told the media he was going to wear that knee brace here in week 1 as precautionary reason. And after halftime, he showered up, got in street clothes, and we haven't seen Edwards since. And since then, it has been Danny O'Neal, the backup quarterback, leading the way here in the second half.
False start, offense number 66, 5-yard penalty at second down.
And that moment during the preseason, he banged knees with a teammate during practice, and he missed very limited practice time, left the lineup for a little while, and then, to your point, was able to return and begin practicing again with that knee brace on. But since then, I mean, they've continued about the work. You know, there hasn't been a lot of missed time physically or mentally for Billy Edwards in preparing for this night. You know, Wisconsin fans out there, they just have to feel like this position is snake bitten somehow.
Yeah, it's right now it's O'Neal who keeps it himself and picks up the first down. It's Fickell's 3rd straight transfer quarterback to open up the season, and the 3rd straight year that a starting quarterback for the Badgers has gotten injured. Now, we don't know the extent, obviously, of Edwards' injury.
Good to see him on the sidelines. So if glass is half full, it's at least nice to see that he's been deemed physically capable of coming back out here, joining his teammates on the sideline. Just think about even jump around. The look on his face when we talked to Billy Edwards about that opportunity to experience jump around at Camp Randall Stadium. And he wasn't even able to maintain health deep enough into the game to experience that in the season opener.
This is the 2-minute timeout.
We hope there'll be more moments for Edwards. We're at the 2-minute mark here in the 4th.
Dave Repson, Howard Griffith with you. The Badgers putting the finishing touches on this one. Defense has been impressive, Howard.
Really impressive. Taking the football away, 2 interceptions, 4 interceptions all of last year. They're halfway there.
So no doubt some positives for Wisconsin. Obviously, the offense, the quarterback issue, those are going to be concerns that we will hear about after the game. Don't forget, we got a big show. We take you through the entire night in the Big Ten. 4 games to talk about. But for now, back to Lisa.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Howard, good to hear your voices once again. Wisconsin actually short of the first down. So 3rd and 1 here coming up for Danny O'Neal. Shouldering the quarterback responsibilities after the Billy Edwards injury. He's a sophomore, don't know much about him. He started every game last year as a freshman at San Diego State. Here's 3rd down for the Badgers. Jones gets it. He's got the first down and some more. Just short of the 45-yard line. Tonight's Power Performance sponsored by Stanley Steamer. It is Danny O'Neal in a really tough spot. Replaced Billy Edwards in the second quarter tonight. How do you kind of define his night for the Badgers?
Workmanlike and frankly confident. You know, I mean, his physical dimensions aren't going to rival those of Billy Edwards between size and mobility, arm strength, but really impressed with his presence out there on the field. A true sophomore. You know, he was the first true freshman to start an opener for the Aztecs last season since they've joined the D1 era. So he's been an impressive guy now at multiple spots in college football. And when you think about it, it got to the point where the run game was being stymied and controlled a bit by this Red Hawks defense. And so they had to trust Danny O'Neal at times in some key positions to be able to deliver with his arm. And he answered the bell throughout this game tonight. 12 out of 19, 120 yards, touchdown pass. So, I mean, for a guy who was not getting any of the reps with the starters, to be able to come in and respond in the season opener like this, extremely impressive.
Both of these backups, though, have made it interesting. Here's Jones finding some daylight, picks up the first down. Danny O'Neal, Hunter Simmons, who Simmons is listed as the third-string quarterback. He's a fifth-year guy out of Southern Illinois. And those two guys really made it interesting for the race for the backup spot. Really competitive in the preseason camp. The Badgers almost 40 minutes of possession. And you got to go back to September 3rd of 2022, the last time the Badgers had shut out an opponent. It was Illinois State. It was also the opening game of the season. Well, O'Neal and this Badger offense survive, and the Badger defense shutting out Miami tonight. And Wisconsin's got that first shutout since 2022, and Luke Fickell and the Badgers back in the win column here after week 1.
The phrase complimentary football has continued to be uttered throughout the entire offseason by Luke Fickell and the entire coaching staff. It's been related to some of the moves that have been made within his coaching staff and a focal point for this team building towards opening their season tonight.
Luke Fickell told us this team is more prepared to handle adversity, and they get it here in week 1 after losing their starting quarterback. Luke Fickell is with Melanie Ricks.
Coach, congratulations on the win. We got to talk about Danny O'Neal, the way he was able to step up for your team. Can you speak to his confidence in being able to get in that moment?
Well, he's a gamer, you know, and to be honest with you, I don't think he got a ton of reps. We've done a lot of stuff. Billy had taken a lot of reps, and but you know, anytime we've gone live, and whether it's in camp or in the spring, he showed up, and he did today.
Well, not just his confidence, but his teammates' confidence in him. Can you talk about the adversity that you experienced?
Yeah, there's a complimentary football here that we've been preaching and talking about, not knowing how games are going to go, not knowing how injuries are going to happen, but we knew we had to do this thing together. I mean, that's a good team. I've played them a lot in the last 8 years, and I knew it was going to be a battle.
Well, and speaking of, do you have an injury update for us?
Nope, don't know anything as of now, but he's out here with us, and that's a good sign.
Thanks, Coach. Congrats.
Well, no week 1 is perfect, but if you had to encapsulate that for the Badgers, how do you put it in words?
Well, certainly a defense that passed the test. They do look like they're more prepared for the rigors of Big Ten play and one of the most grueling schedules in all of college football. That will be able to allow their offense to sustain some of these hurdles they'll have to get over with some potential growing pains, depending on who's at QB.
Yeah, we certainly hope the best here for Billy Edwards and that he can return to the field really quickly. Well, we hope you enjoyed our coverage opening up the Big Ten Conference season here on this Thursday night. For Anthony Herron and Melanie Ricks, our producer Brian Carter, our director Pat O'Connor, I'm Lisa Byington. Stay tuned now for the big show coming up next. Under the lights here in Madison, Badgers victorious 17-0.